Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I'll weave them in my song.
Hello and welcome to Lessons of the Journey, where we discuss the stuff we actually needed to learn in school with Coach Jen and Coach Nicole.
Hello, Coach Nicole. Thank you for joining us today. We're so happy you're here to talk with us. Today, we're talking about stress. Stress. Did I wake up this way? Nicole, do we need to define stress?
Oh my gosh, we so need to define stress. Absolutely has to be defined. Definition of stress that I found and I kind of like is a response to external pressures or demands.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, feel good about that one?
Do I feel good about that one? Is that a trick question?
Yes, it is a trick question.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a series, right? Because stress is kind of the umbrella of so many other pieces that some people call stress, like anxiety and panic and all of that. Let's stick with stress today as the general topic, and then we can dive into the other associated pieces in future sessions. I think stress is something that even little kids experience. So why aren't we taught what it is, how to manage it better in school?
We're going to dive into all of that today. Sort of a progression. Stress can lead to anxiety. Anxiety can lead to panic attacks. We'll watch the progression as we go through this series. Yeah, starting with stress, I think, is really the most important topic to talk about today so that we can lay a foundation of what exactly is stress. What does it feel like? Lots of great questions today. The first thing, let's talk a little bit about what triggers and causes, because it says a response to external pressures or demands. So what are those triggers, those external pressures or demand? We're talking about external situations. This can be work, deadlines, life changes. This can be friendships. For children, it can have to do with school. It can have to do with the expectations of and pressures with their family environment, just their existing and living. I think we all have those external situations that cause stress, no matter how old we are. I mean, we're born as babies, and the moment we want food, it's like we want something, we're not getting it right away, we're crying, there's a stressor. That's an external stressor. It's something we always have.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody's immune to it. I think even the Zen masters, even though they've figured out how to maybe manage it a little bit better, are still affected by it. If we're talking external, I want to challenge that because I have this interesting brain that says I can create stress out of nothing. That all happens inside of me. What do you think about that? Like overthinkers. I work with overthinkers all the time, creating something out of nothing. Well, what if and what if and what if? And maybe that's more anxiety. Is it the feeling out of control? We've talked about the word control before.
I think that's a great question. My initial reaction is to go to that's probably more on the anxiety angle of things versus stress, because we're going to talk about some of the positivities of stress. That being said, I don't know that anxiety has much positivity, but stress does. When we're talking about when the brain starts to go into that space of negativity and starts to stew, some call it the snowball effect. Don't sweat the small stuff. Such a smart man. Unfortunate that he's no longer with us. Snowball effect of your thinking. When you continually add to that, that might be veering into anxiety, as you mentioned. I think you're correct there. I don't know how to answer that. And hopefully at the end of the series, we'll be able to make an assessment based on the conversations that we have here. But I think we'll have to table the answer to that because I don't think we're really sure.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, let's go with it's external and we'll table the what's the internal and see if that does fall into anxiety as we get into that one.
Got it. I'm on board.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about symptoms when we're feeling stress. Muscle tension, headaches, fatigue, digestive issues. Psychological can be irritability, feeling overwhelmed. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like you have stress in your life? And for anybody that knows us, that's a joke. She's got two littles. Like, hello.
I'm crying laughing right now. Maybe just a little bit.
Just a tad.
Just a little bit. As a coach, I look at these stressors, small kind, large kind, and I go, is Is it not? Am I managing it well? Am I not managing it well? Do I think I'm managing it well and I'm really not managing it well? So yes, I do have a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old stepson. Yeah, I'm the only woman in a house of all men, and I am not the queen. They have not figured that out yet. I'm still working on it. So outside of just being a mother in general, being a mother, stressful. I think we can all agree. Being a parent, I don't want to exclude fathers.
Yeah.
It is a stressful thing to be a parent, to know that a helpless human relies on you for everything until they learn how to talk back, and then they know everything. And then you're like, I still have to take care of you. And I don't know how that turns the stress. Yeah, I would say that I have, I mean, if we're going to put percentages on it, I have small kind percentage stress and I have very large kind of stress.
Yeah.
And outside of being a parent, I also own my own business. I work with multiple personalities. And it's interesting how I receive that and put it places. I am a vault. When I work with folks, things stay here. It's really interesting what we take on, the tools that we, and I know you know this, Nicole, the way we then do something with that, whether it's in a parental role, in a coaching role, in a partner role, in a friend role. Yeah, I think stress exists everywhere. Really, as humans, we're walking around this earth just managing our stressors.
I agree with you. Spoiler alert, Jen, as a mother of boys as well, much further along on the journey, you never get to be the queen.
Okay.
You think they're going to realize this at some point. People wake up and realize how important I am. I told my son the other day, grandkids give you the love that you always wanted from your children. And I believe that's true. I really do.
And I'm what they call an elder mother. I'm an old mom. I'm going to be so old when my kids have kids. I talk to my kids all the time. I'm like, you're going to be big and strong and you're going to carry mom around. Mom is going to be old and frail. And these piggyback rides that you get from me, you're going to be giving them to me.
60 is the new 40. You're all good. You're all good.
So I would say as a human, we ultimately are walking around managing stress every day.
I would agree with that.
To different degrees. So why were we not taught how to do something with it?
And what it is, and that it's meant to be. Sometimes there's that, oh, well, I want no stress in my life. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to be alive?
I love that. You know, people call me dramatic when I say, okay, well, what's the alternative? You're dead in the ground somewhere. We at least get to do something with it.
Yes.
And I think that's where the lessons are. I have this conversation often on the brink of addiction. Well, I drink so much to numb because I don't want to feel. Well, what is it that we're not wanting to feel? The stress of any given life situation, or I do these drugs. Even on the other side, I am addicted to exercise, or I stress clean, or whatever that looks like. There are so many poles of ignoring the icky feeling, which I think society has just gotten to the take a pill for that. Nobody wants to feel anymore, which is unfortunate because, as you mentioned, we are going to talk about the benefits of stress. And I know a few people out there heard you say that and went, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, probably.
Of stress, I have yet to experience any benefit from the stress that I feel. So that will be a good thing for us to get into.
Well, Tim said to me, my husband, I said, I'm doing stress. He goes, make sure you mention that you can have stress without knowing you have stress. I'm like, okay, I will, because he goes through that sometimes. He's such an easygoing person that for him, he doesn't acknowledge the stress. We just had a situation happen where a lot of stress was relieved in a moment. It made him feel emotional that all that stress just disappeared. And he didn't realize it was there. It's almost that boiling the frog. If you put them in the cold water and then bring it to a boil, they don't jump out. And how many of us are boiling in stress? That's one of the things that I think is really important to acknowledge. If we're defining stress versus anxiety, stress should be short term. And once that stressor is no longer there, there should not be that stress.
It's directly correlated to that outside event and or thing. When that event or thing is done, the stress should, air quotes, no longer be there.
Yeah. Ideally, that's how stress works, if it's working in its proper form, which I think is an interesting point. As we go through this series of stress, anxiety, and panic attacks, you're thinking, okay, sometimes am I having anxiety? Am I having stress? Well, I think that's a really good thing to think about. Externally motivated and short-term subsiding when that stressor is resolved. Okay, wait, a lot of these things I've been saying are stress are probably anxiety. That's a valid point to say, wait, I need to clarify correctly. You and I are both word people. If we can assign the correct words to things, I mean, that's what should be taught in school. Let's just have the right words for some of these things. Literally.
Hello, agreement number 1. Don't even get Jen started on agreement number 1.
There you go.
No, absolutely. Because the reason that we have so much miscommunication in our lives, which is also a cause of stress, is because we're not on the same plane. We're not using the same definition of words. We're not understanding the same circumstance in the same place. And because of that, if we're not able to use the correct words for the thing, then the communication, even when you're attempting to get help with the stressor, you're not able to, because we're not working off of the same definition. I think that your point is so beautiful in that, yes, define what in fact is happening so that you can address the thing in front of you. And most people don't want to get there because it's so uncomfortable. Because I don't want to feel it anyway. So why would I want to dive into what in fact I am feeling? I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable. I want to run away from it. And unfortunately, what we all have experienced is that really nothing leaves you without you having gotten into it and done something with it. Because the more we run away, that energy chases. Because the shoving doesn't do anything. We have to invite it in. We have to sit with it. And we have to go, listen, I'm not stoked on you, but I see that you're here. And
you bring up some valid points. You know, I keep thinking to myself, people will say, oh, I'm so stressed out. Okay, now I'm thinking about that very differently. Are you stressed out? Or are you having anxiety? What's interesting, so associated disorders, stress is not necessarily linked to a disorder of any kind, though chronic stress can contribute to health problems. Stress in itself is a way of functioning.
I have a very strange opinion with my mental health history. Y'all have heard before that I have a bipolar 1 diagnosis. People who meet me go, what? No, because nobody understands what bipolar is. What my understanding is that stressors, there are, and a doctor, please correct me in our chat, 5 major stressors that would kick somebody with bipolar who's kind of just on the line into either mania or depression. But these are stressors that are like massive life changes. For example, death, moving, divorce. There are 5 identifiable stressors that somebody who is maintaining a bipolar diagnosis could then get thrust into one or the other based on this particular identified stressor. I find it interesting that although it's not its own diagnosis, it does affect other mental health diagnoses.
100%. Thank you for the clarity. I think when you say associated disorders, it's what can stress alone cause. Stress alone does not cause you to be bipolar, but if you have bipolars, you're one human and you're functioning in what you can. There are times as we get into anxiety or panic attacks, I suffer from panic attacks. I can be set off on just normal stressors. It's not giving me the panic attacks, but it's causing that to happen, but it doesn't cause it in its own. To think that anything we do doesn't affect all of the parts and pieces of us, I think is naive. Everything we do. So when I say not an associated disorder, I mean a direct disorder. If you're having normal world stress, it's not going to cause a disorder. But is it going to mess with other disorders? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Which really then begs that we learn how to handle stressors effectively so as to not allow them to move into disorders that may be associated. That's why it's so important to be able to identify and manage.
I agree with you. So the impacts on daily life, it can disrupt your focus or cause temporary physical discomfort, but it's usually manageable. Treatment recommendations for stress management techniques. What do you think of when you think of stress management techniques?
Breathing, exercise, all the things, sunshine, vitamin D. Yeah.
And time management. You know me, Jen. You know I am a master of my calendar. I love my calendar. My husband will be like, what are you doing? We're laying in bed at night. I'm like, I'm readjusting my calendar. I'm a psycho when it comes to my calendar. I know that people might look at me and go, why would you want to do that? And in my mind, if my time is managed in my calendar, It doesn't have to be in my head. I don't have to remember all these things that I'm doing. If you ask me, what are you doing in 3 days? I'm like, hell if I know, but I can tell you. I can pull up this calendar.
Yes.
And as I'm getting older and I'm going through menopause, that calendar really is a huge stress reliever for me. I've always said it gives you freedom. Of course, when I saw this as time management, I was like,
Yay. No, I agree. When I coach productivity, the first thing we do is look at calendars. That's because there's so much floating around in our brain, which is stressful, I would say. At the end of the day, when you're laying in bed and you have trouble sleeping because your brain turns on, right? Get out a pad, write down all the things, and then it's out. And you can pick it up in the morning because you're not going to do anything about it right then and there. I function better when I know what's next, even when I have a packed day, because I don't have to think what I'm going to do in the interim. I have another coaching session in 30 minutes. I need to put food in my face. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to get some water, and I'm right back at the next. I don't have to think about it. And then I don't run into decision fatigue, which is a real thing, which causes stress.
I've not heard that term before, but I get that 100%.
Yeah.
I don't keep a to-do list. Everything goes in my calendar. If I have something to do, I literally just go to my calendar, block off time to get it done. And then I don't have to have any of that in my head. To me, it's a freedom. So many people will say, calendar is going to trap me. I'm like, no. It's all freedom. It's time management. It's me understanding what to do next and not having to think about it. I got none of that stuff in my head. My husband's like, when are we leaving here? When are we doing this? Let me check my calendar.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I have something that's off the normal time that it is. And my watch will go off and I have 10 minutes and I'm supposed to be doing this. Perfect. Let's go do it. I would have forgotten otherwise because I got distracted by something else. But I can get distracted because my calendar is going to tell me what I got. And I'm still going to get things done and move forward progressively. Big one for me. I know this isn't an episode on time management, even though Nicole makes every episode about time management. I think it really helps.
I agree. That is because people fall victim to their calendar, forgetting that they are the literal creators of their calendar. So if you don't like your calendar, that's your fault. I think that people get lost in the stress of that's only going to take 20 minutes. Why would I put that on my calendar? So that you have time on your calendar to do it. It's not even necessarily living by your calendar. It's just knowing what to do and not stressing out that it's either getting done or not getting done. Right? How often do we hear, well, my to-do list, it just never gets all checked off and then it moves to the next day and then it moves to the next day. Well, I'll tell you what, it's never going to get done. So if you have a structured day, it's more than likely going to get done, which is then going to eliminate the stress of trying to figure out what needs to get done.
Yeah. Like you said, decision fatigue. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm not going to decide on anything. I'm going to do nothing. And how are we moving forward in what we want to accomplish in our life? So Google now, when you add things, and I like Google Calendar, you can make it a task or an event. And I love that, right? All my events have colors. My calendar is gorgeous. Like I have a sexy calendar.
I love all the colors on mine. Yeah. My kids are yellow. My date night is purple.
There you go. Yeah, it's fantastic. Let's move on to some of those positive benefits of stress because we've talked about it. Jen, what do you think might be some of the positive benefits of stress?
I think first, it's important to identify that anything that comes to us, any feeling, and stress is a feeling, it's important that we are able to identify what it is. Feelings do exactly that. They're trying to tell us something that our brains have not cognitively put together yet, like what Tim was saying. You can be stressed without knowing you're stressed. Absolutely. Yeah. I have eczema sometimes, and my eczema will come out before my brain recognizes what stress I'm under. My body will tell me that I am under some sort of stress before I've dug into what is happening. What did I shove down in my everything to do that I haven't identified, that my skin is trying to tell me something's going on, you need to address it. And that's really frustrating because I'll look at it happens in my fingers. I'll be like, I don't know yet. Tell me. I don't know.
It's like your body puts a Post-it note, but it's empty. You have to figure out what it means.
Yeah.
I actually think that's really cool.
So back to your question, I think that any feeling, and maybe especially stress, is trying to tell us something. Hey, red flag, maybe yellow flag, something's going on that is not working for us. We need you to address it. I don't know how, but address it, because we don't like it when we get to full-blown stress. Full-blown stress goes fight or flight, freeze, or I have many different responses to major stress. The ability to go, what's going on? What is this trying to tell me right now? I think that's a huge benefit for the feeling of stress, or why this particular thing is stressing me out. What about this am I reacting to? I think that's a positive. People are like, no, that's awful. I think it's an opportunity for us to know a little bit more about ourselves. I think that's positive.
I would agree with that. There's actually quite a few, which I found interesting. I thought there would be like 3 or 4, but I'm surprised. While stress is often seen in a negative light due to its association with anxiety, pressure, burnout, it can actually have some positive benefits when experienced in moderate amounts or under certain conditions. So here are several positive effects of stress. Number 1, motivation and performance.
Ooh.
So this is challenge and drive. Stress can serve as an absolute motivator to accomplish tasks. If we're not feeling any pressure, we're probably sometimes not going to do it. Like, well, why?
That's, I immediately thought of my kids, our 10-year-old and our 5-year-old. That's the biggest age gap that we have. My 5-year-old loves to run. All he wants to do is run. He practices running. We went on a hike that his little legs should not have completed. The kid ran for most of it, over 4 miles, my 5-year-old. Just running. Our 10-year-old didn't have the access to athletics that my kids have. And we got him late. Although he has an amazing attitude, he doesn't quite have the physicality yet. And my 5-year-old will beat him in some races. That stresses our 10-year-old out. And no kid, and brothers maybe especially, no kid likes that. So we'll be like, oh, your little brother. And he's like, oh, and you can see it. He's like, okay, we're going again. He's got an amazing attitude. The motivation to not let my little brother, because that is a small kind stress for him. My little brother can't beat me in things. I see that motivation in him. Like, he decided to start running on the treadmill. Okay, cool. Go do you, right? Little bits of motivation.
That's awesome.
So that's what you said reminded me of my kids.
It's absolutely true. To help you motivate, accomplish tasks. So a manageable amount of stress, we're not talking overstress, a manageable amount of stress actually helps focus energy, increase alertness, and can enhance performance. Good example was stress before a presentation or an exam may prompt preparation and a sense of urgency, leading to better outcomes.
I see it.
You and I have both done public speaking, and I would be nervous if there was no nervous.
Yes.
If I'm not feeling a little bit of butterflies, that's not a good sign. That nervousness, I think, gives you a little more energy to function in a better way when you're doing a presentation.
Yeah. And, I've read that there's a very fine line between nervous and excited.
Yeah.
The really top performers in life can find that fine line and become excited in their nervousness, which really up levels whatever it is that they're doing. Versus if you take that nervous and it freezes you, or you step back, then that really separates those that do and those that don't. Also, when you hear the word stress, just like at the top of the show, we're like, stress can be nerves. And you mentioned public speaking. I care so much that somebody in the audience receives something that will do something for them. I hope that whatever it is that I'm speaking on really touches someone. I'm speaking to that one person that needed to hear it at that right time. And that's the nerves of stress. So instead of thinking of it as, oh, stress is such an awful thing, it can really roll into the level of excitement if you are identifying it and managing it appropriately.
Agreed. I definitely think you and I are looking for that audience to get some value from it. I think that's important for us. If we had come with no expectation, there would be no nervousness. It's just like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to stand up here and I don't care what happens. But we care. That stress comes from the caring. And that's a good space.
Yes.
So improved focus in stressful situations, and you talked about this, the body's fight or flight response activates. By the way, there's a lot of Fs. Fight, flight, flop, fawn. There's a bunch of them. Yes. So fight or flight response activates, which heightens focus and concentration. This can be helpful when you need to meet a deadline or perform under pressure.
Yeah, this makes so much sense. And I'm thinking about the folks that I've worked with, that we've been able to get them from, I don't know what to do with this stress, and learning how to manage what that looks like, get them over the hump to, yes, I recognize stress and I'm going to do this thing anyway. I've built the courageous muscle. I've built the bravery muscle. And it's so fascinating. I wonder, is this innate in people or is it a learned behavior? Because sometimes I meet people and, oh no, exactly what you said. Stress is like, that's my motivator. I'm going after it. I feel a little bit funny about it, but we're winning, that whole thing. And then there's those folks that are like, I shut down when I'm stressed. I don't do. None of what you're saying makes any sense to me because that is not in me. And I know both of us have been able to work with people to change that mindset, to see it differently. Because I know there's people out there listening right now going, I don't know what you're talking about. That is not how stress affects me. That is not happening in my life. So just to you all, we can fix that.
Hold on till the end. Don't leave. You asked a great question. I think that answer is the nature versus nurture conversation, which we, can have probably till the cows come home, because I don't have cows. So that's forever. We can't answer that. I don't know. I think it's affected by both. I think that just like anything else, if we focus on it, we can make a difference in how stress is affecting us. So if the stress or the way of dealing with stress, we're not taught it in school. So who's teaching it to us? Are our parents teaching it to us? Well, if our parents are crap at dealing with stress, then they're not teaching it to us because they don't know any different. Or maybe they are teaching it to us. Again, nature versus nurture, I don't know. It depends on how the child is born and what their environment is. So many factors. I think the key, though, is knowing that there is some adaptation that you can make. You can absolutely change your perception of something. And the first thing you have to think is, it is possible. Until you go to it is possible, nothing will change. If you hear yourself saying, this is not possible for me, my encouragement for you is just say that differently. That's fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Even if you feel like it's BS, just say it and let it settle, because you've been telling yourself an agreement that is possibly not serving you. So what if we just looked at it differently?
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. How can this be of benefit? We go, oh, this doesn't feel good. I would like to feel good. What needs to happen in order for me to feel better? An entire shift in what and how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And I think I never want to feel stress. Well, then you never want to be human, because you will never have motivation. You will never increase your performance. When we're feeling stress, a lot of times it's because we're doing something new. It's outside our box. So if you want to live in a box that you never get out of and never want to interact with other humans, you could probably avoid stress. If you have animals in the world, you're going to interact with them. It's going to be stress. So you're going to just have it.
Yes.
So just deal with it.
And striving too, if we have big dreams, or even little dreams, but that takes us right out of our comfort zone. I always associate a story to my point. And the story that I'm associating to my point is when I test for my certification for coaching, I have to do a live coaching session that is judged by people who tell me if I'm doing it right or wrong. They then hold my certification in hand as to, you asked too many questions in a row, or, and that makes me nervous. That stresses me out because I care so much. And the reason that I am going to strive for the betterment of that, I'm going to make sure that I do all of the things and checks all the boxes. That is enhancing my performance because of the stress level that I'm feeling going into it. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Number 2 positive benefit of stress is enhanced resilience. Think about it. We're adapting. Overcoming stressors can help build resilience, the ability to handle future challenges more effectively. This is just like, you don't walk into the gym and lift a 100-pound weight for your bicep. You start with a 5-pound weight and then you work it up and you get stronger. It's the same things. Dealing with stress is a muscle. We have to build it. Some of these people who are maybe saying, stress is not for me, thank you very much. They might be people who can't lift a pound and they're just freaking out because they can't lift a pound, but they'll never be able to lift a pound if they don't at least work on that resilience. I think it's something to consider.
Yeah.
Enhanced resilience.
I have a love-hate relationship with the word resilience, because I've said out loud before, it is my greatest strength and my greatest weakness all at the same time. Although I do agree, and I've mentioned this before, the books that I read, my littles. Right now I am brave. Right now I am fine. Right now I am angry. And to be able to know that that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you in these moments. So to be like, give me a pill. I need to run away from it.
Yeah.
That's never going to And that's never going to build that muscle that you're referring to. I do agree with that.
Along with enhanced resilience, learning and growth, stress can prompt you to learn new skills, problem-solving techniques, or strategies to manage difficult situations. This growth can improve your ability to navigate life's challenges.
Absolutely. We've all heard, had you not gone through all of the things that you had gone through in your life up to this point, you would not be the person you are today, whether you like that or not.
I would not be on this podcast having this conversation with you because I would have said no to a lot of things in my life.
Yes, it's the more you do something, the more you know you can do the thing. Oh, I've been here before, or something similar, which is also why I tell stories in coaching and on stage, because I think we can all learn from everybody's stories. So the ability to go, oh, hey, you might not have been through this yet, but let me tell you about this time. Maybe you can use some of the information here to help yourself move through a time or in the future. When we have done that on our own, we go, oh, I've been here before. It's not exactly like that, but maybe I'm going to try this. My whole life is a science experiment, by the way.
Yes.
I'm going to approach it this way. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, now we're going to try it this way. Oh, that didn't work.
A lot of failing.
Until it works. And that's exactly what science is. It's a lot of failure until you're like, oh yeah, that hypothesis works.
I think that's really important. So when you talk about the regrets of the dying, when you're on your deathbed, you don't regret the things you chose to do. You regret the things you didn't choose to do. That's where stress comes in. You and I used to coach a lot of brand new real estate agents, and these people would come in with a lot of stress around, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? That's a good thing though, because that means that they care, and that means that they want to show up in a certain way. And that's just doing something new. Right? When has doing something new ever felt comfortable? You know, and if it did, you might be a sociopath. Go see a doctor. You're like, I can do anything new.
I'm not qualified to have that conversation.
Benefit number 3, short-term benefit, boosted immune system.
Really?
Stress can stimulate the immune system, preparing your body to fight off infection and illnesses. This happens through the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which can help protect your body in the face of a perceived threat.
Oh yeah, the tiger's coming, run.
I knew that the adrenaline, the cortisol, but I didn't realize that it actually helps your immune function. Doctors chime in. News to me, boosted immune system, short term. Don't go in front of the lions 25 times thinking you're going to live longer. Let's not play that game. Yeah, short term boosted immune system. I thought that was fascinating.
You know, if you take nothing else from this talk today, know that I feel stressed out. Well, I am actually
getting a little boost.
Healthy right now.
My immune system. Isn't that wild?
That's interesting. I like that. That raises a good perspective. I'm going to have to pull that one out with my kids at some point in the future.
Yeah. All this immunity stuff that's going on in our bodies that we're not aware of because we can't see. How neat is that? Okay.
I tell my kids this ever since they were little, right? They get a cut. They think it's the end of the world. And I go, no, your body is amazing. Watch, it's going to heal itself. We talk about how amazing our bodies are. Our bodies are so smart. So it was designed that way, which is absolutely incredible to me. I love this one. I learned this is my takeaway. I'm calling it right now.
Love it. You know, it was so interesting. When I broke my collarbone, I was an adult. I still have an actual bump in my collarbone. And the doctor said to me, if you were under 18, that bump would have gone away because the body will realign it properly. I should have broken it when I was younger, but that's amazing.
Grant, my 5-year-old, broke his collarbone 2 weeks before his 5th birthday. And he has that knot because our bones create a callus, a massive callus over the bone as it's healing. So we would go in and get our regular x-rays, and maybe they do extra because he's 5, but we have 4 x-rays over the time of healing. And you can't really see the callus, but you can see the bones growing back together. The point is your body knows what to do. It creates that callus. And they said, the option is surgery. We can go in there and we can shave off that callus because it doesn't go away on his own. However, as he grows and develops as a man, you're not going to see it anymore. Right now, he's 5 and he's a skinny little runner and he's got this big old callus right here. And they called it a deformity on my 5-year-old. I was like, stop, my 5-year-old is not deformed. But I guess that's the medical term for it. Anyway, they're like, it'll go away. He'll either have a scar or I'll have this bump until he develops into a man. And I'm like, we're good. Don't go in.
First of all, that's not a deformity. It's a badge of honor. Broken bone, like badge of honor. Same as a scar, man. Like I've been through it.
Speaking to that, because that's what I was told in the same situation. You were an adult, now you have this, and he's a child, but as he grows and develops, that'll just go away. Nobody will know.
Yep.
But that's a stress. That's a physical bodily stress that our bodies are handling for us. Ultimately, our bodies know exactly what to do with intelligent design. Yeah. So the stress that our bodies receive, they do something with it naturally and intelligently. I think there's something to learn from that. If we can take our mental capacity and go, okay, I know what to do. What is it? What needs to happen? Just like our bodies naturally kick in for healing.
I love that. Number 4, under the positives of stress, is increased creativity. Innovative thinking. Stress can sometimes lead to heightened creativity as your mind seeks solutions to problems under pressure. This can increase out-of-the-box thinking or push you to explore new innovative ways of approaching a task or challenge. Breaking comfort zones. Mm-hmm. In essence, stress pushes out of your comfort zone, which can lead to greater creativity and new ideas, especially in safe, high-pressure environments like brainstorming sessions or tight project deadlines.
Yeah, I believe it, because serial entrepreneurs who are just regularly under stress are some of the most out-of-the-box creative geniuses of all time, because they're constantly under that stress of performance, do better, do more. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes, I have heard from many people that they're better at coming up with ideas when they get closer to the deadline. That's a human thing. We wait till we're closer, then there's more pressure and we end up coming up with better ideas. This is definitely not something new, but I just want to point out that if we're talking about high pressure environments, this is not a blanket statement for all businesses to just go make the pressure more. That's not safe. Let's be clear on that. I love brainstorming sessions.
I agree with you there, because consider the alternative. If you're not safe, you really are shutting down because you're in self-preservation mode at a certain time.
I don't know for sure because I'm not a medical doctor. I would say if it's not a safe, high pressure environment, you're actually sending people into anxiety versus the stress that's going to improve performance. That's number 4, increased creativity.
I like it.
Number 5, improved time management. Productivity boost. The pressure of a looming deadline can help you focus and get things done more efficiently. Stress often forces prioritization. I do this with clients all the time. There's 20 things on my to-do list. Great, let's put it in order. Why? Because you don't know what you're doing. And like you said, decision fatigue. You look at the list and you go, fuck it all, I'm not going to do any of it because it's just too much and I can't decide what to do. So let's put numbers on it. Oh, that's number 1. That's number 2. That's number 3. And they're like, oh, now I know what to do in what order.
Well, and you've heard, if you have 15 minutes to do something, you'll do it in 15 minutes. If you have 2 hours to do something, you'll do it in 2 hours. And it could be same task. Yes. I got to clean up real quick. I got 15 minutes. Oh, I got 2 hours. It's going to take you that time. Unless you've decided what it's going to be, then it will just linger. And that is certainly a cause for stress, because we lose time there's not enough time. How often do people come to, there's not enough time in the day? Well, let's see what your day looks like.
Don't get me started. But there's plenty of time to go on social media and there's plenty of time to watch TV.
Which is all okay. But don't tell me that you've run out of time.
But there's no time to do my job, or there's no time to get my creativity or my goals met. Okay, priority.
If you really want some perspective, I will call you out on that. What did you do for 2 hours this morning after you dropped your kids off for school? I'm listening. And I'm not going to chastise you for it. I'm just going to help you see that there was 2 hours of whatever. You could have done laundry. You could have cleaned your head. Okay, I hear you. And let's take a look at it. You and I both are the ones that would be like, ooh, hate to call you out on this one.
And that's why I think it's so important for us as coaches that we make sure who we work with are people who are coachable.
Yes.
Because if you're not going to make the changes that you self-discovered through the questions we ask you, then we're wasting our time and yours. So no point.
Yeah.
This is why we ask a lot of questions and figure out whether or not this is someone we want to coach and who is coachable.
I'm going to throw it out there. I have a 19-page intake form. It's not like line. There's space to write, there's space to explore, but it's some questions. It's going to make you dig in. And that, my friends, is how I know if you're ready to do the work. You got to commit to the intake before, yes, that is part of what needs to happen. If you have gotten to the brink where you're like, man, I need some coaching. Well, we'll see. Fill this out. We'll find out.
And if you can't fill out the 19 pages, then you're not going to be in coaching.
We might explore it. It's one by one. The point is, are you committed to making these changes? If what you've been doing thus far isn't working and it is stressing you out, and I can offer you a way to help manage that stress, are you open to it?
There you
That's
go.
it. That's it.
You're right. Yes. Prioritization. We were talking about improved time management. You might find that you work with more urgency and get done faster when stressed rather than procrastinating. Exactly what Jen just talked about. If you got to get the house cleaned up because someone's coming over in 15 minutes, man, you'd be amazed how much your house can get cleaned up. If you got nobody coming over, you might be 3 hours later and I got through one room. What's going on? Like, give yourself that deadline.
Because I find so much cool shit. You know? Look at this picture from high school. I remember, like.
Absolutely. I thought this was interesting. This also goes under the caveat of improved time management, efficient goal setting. Stress often leads to setting more defined goals and planning ahead. For instance,
this is our jam.
Yes, this is our jam. When faced with a stressful situation like managing multiple tasks, individuals tend to organize their workload and allocate time more effectively. Thank you, stress.
We signing like off. One. Stress is our buddy here.
We like this one. All right. Going into number 6, physical fitness. Guys, every time you go to the gym and you lift a weight, what are you doing? You're stressing your muscle. Exercise induced stress, physical stress from exercise, weightlifting or running, any other aerobics, cardio, helps strengthen muscles, improve cardiovascular health. When done in moderation, exercise induced stress improves overall physical health, endurance, and stamina. I'm sure we all know this, but look at this one. Hormonal benefits.
Yes.
Short bursts of stress caused by exercise trigger the release of endorphins, hormones that promote positive feelings and reduce pain, improving mood and well-being. So when my husband says he gets a runner's high, he means it. I don't know how, because I don't run that far. I never get the runner's high, but I get it at the gym.
I was talking to Paul about this last night. We were both former Division I athletes. I was volleyball, he was football. We were talking about our mile times because this is something that they make you do. You got to run a mile. Somehow the time of your mile matters to the athletic department. And I was a volleyball player. So my job was this half of a court. Don't let the ball hit the ground, hit it harder so it goes down on the ground on that side. What the does my mile time have to do with my ability to kill the ball on the other side of the net? My vertical matters. My quick agility from here to there matters. Now he was a running back. I can only imagine that his mile time mattered. Mine, I could not.
You're not running a mile when you're playing football.
Right. And he said the same thing. He was like, get me on the field, give me the ball. He goes, I can run 100 yards easy. What am I running a mile for? And like, I get you.
My husband's always like, I'm now running a mile and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that means nothing to me. He's like, well, the best athletes in the world run in this time. I'm like, oh, so you're not very fast. He's like, no, I'm not one of the best athletes. I'm like, whoa, they give me a freaking comparison. Okay, in high school, I ran a this. That was 50 years ago. You just shut up.
Yeah. So I say, do the exercises that you will do. If somebody said, yes, Jen, let's go for a run, I'd be like, you're on your own, right? I'll go for a solid fast walk with you. I got long legs.
As long as we're talking and we can hear each other and there's no heavy breathing.
I have zero interest in running. I was a goalkeeper when I played soccer my whole life. I didn't run with the team because we were working on other agility skills. I never could get the breathing. And also I get bored. My very active brain, I'm like, what now? I forget how to breathe the right way. I can do a HIIT all day, HIIT, right? High intensity interval training, and that is stress on your heart immediately. And also when you're getting your heart looked at, it's called a stress test, right? They put you through stress to see how healthy you are. And if you can get through a stress test, and I had this done because I have an extra electrode on my heart. Now everybody knows everything about me. My heart starts beating. You can't catch my pulse, and I have to like lay down and get my heart to slow down. That's just one version of the same thing that occurs in different people. It doesn't inhibit my life, so I've never had to go in and get it done. However, when I feel that come on, it's like a burst of adrenaline. So running, no, it's not going to do it for me. If I go through a HIIT and I stress my heart and I go, oh, okay, and the doctor says that I'm healthy based on the exercises that I'm doing, I'm good.
There you go.
Forget the mile time. Nobody cares.
Yeah. And you're 100% right. Pick what you will do. My husband has a membership to a gym and I get to go with him for free, but there's no classes. Yeah. I'm the step Zumba and then do the weights beforehand and after kind of girl. That's what works for me. I will do that consistently. You have to find what works for you. But yeah, physical fitness, think about that. I mean, that's the stressor right there.
You know what I love about this? I came in with like stress. You've just shown us 7 different versions of stress that we don't regularly think about and how it can be beneficial to us. Had any one class, even in PE, when I was in 7th grade, would have gone through something like, okay, this is what this looks like, we would have had a whole different perspective on the nasty version of stress that we all wake up with. So I love this episode. Thank you.
Our entire society would not be going, less stress, less stress,
Yeah.
less stress. We'd be going, hey, more of that good stress, and let's maybe not have the bad stress. Let's work on the things that are positive. So number 7, this I found interesting, strengthened relationships.
Tell me more.
Shared challenges.
Oh,
Going through stressful experiences with others, such as a difficult project or a life event, can strengthen bonds and build teamwork. Oh my God, no shit. This is so exactly what happens. Working together under pressure often fosters better cooperation, trust, and communication. Empathy and support. Experiencing stress can also enhance your empathy for others. I almost feel like that one should be on its own. Understanding what it feels like to be stressed may make you more supportive of friends, family, or coworkers when they are going through tough times.
Oh my gosh. I just did 2 of these yesterday. I could tell you that 10 years ago, I was not this empathetic person. I ran into a situation where a tenant of a property was like, hi, there's people walking through the yard and like looking in my window. And I'm from Chicago and like, I'm terrified of people outside of my window. I went like, I can only imagine looking out and seeing somebody staring in my window. Like, my gosh, that sounds awful. 10 years ago, I would have been like, what do you want me to do about it? And she said to me, she goes, I'm so glad I called you. I feel so validated. I was like, well, yeah, think about waking up with like a shadow outside your window. I'm mortified for you. She was like, I almost didn't say anything because I was, oh man, I feel you. And another situation happened later that night where somebody had to cancel something. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, absolutely not. I don't blame you. You were blindsided. This is awful. I feel so bad for you. And they're like, gosh, Jen, that's just so wonderful of you. Only because I've been through some shit can I go, I'm sorry. That sucks. I so agree with this because I was a different person not long ago. And having gone through the stress of life has enabled me to step back and go, yeah, that must suck for you. Like, I'm sorry. I don't think I had that years ago. I 100% agree with what you just said.
I love the word you use, validation. I think we could give other people validation a lot more often in life. I think 90% of the time when somebody's talking about a situation that is stressful to them, all they're asking for is validation. And it doesn't matter if you're the stressor or not. Just validate people's feelings, first of all.
Number one problem in relationship failure. We hear this all the time. Usually, this is the story. The wife goes to the husband and goes, I'm feeling this. And he tries to either talk her out of it or get defensive because he somehow thinks it's him, right? But all she's looking for is, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Do you want me to sit with you? Do you want me to yell at somebody for you? Validation. That's it. That's all most people are looking for. Yeah. I am resourceful. I am whole just the way I am. I don't need you to fix anything if I'm sharing with you. I just would like you to be like, yeah, that probably would suck. It helps you feel seen and heard. I think that as being human, that's really all we're looking for. We just want to feel seen and heard. Validation is the quickest number one way for that to happen in any relationship.
You're so right. I don't know if you see it, and it may be because the feeds I have on my social media, but I see a lot more of those lessons happening for men, how to validate women. And yes, this is a gender thing. I see that more often, more videos about how men can validate women without feeling like they're the bad guy. It's a beautiful thing to see in society. I think that's happening more. Hey, just validate this person. I was talking to a friend the other day and I had to go, dipshit, you said what to your girlfriend? And he's like my brother, right? I'm just like, dumbass. You don't say that to a woman. Even if it's true, you don't. He's like, I know. You know better. Just don't say that to a woman. We just need to know we're validated and loved. He's like, you do. I forget how I have to sometimes be. He takes it all in stride, but I don't pull the punches with him.
I'm recognizing, especially with 3 and 5-year-olds, and this comes from the way that I was raised. Our parents don't want us hurting as children. There's a monster in my closet. No, there's not. Stop it. Here's the flashlight. Go to bed. Stop. That whole thing. Instead of, oh my gosh, that would be really scary. The approach, and I was approached that way as a child. So my initial approach is, stop it. That's ridiculous. I very much have to stop and validate my 5-year-old going, I am scared. I don't know what I'm scared of. And I am telling you that I am scared. For me to just go, well, stop. Just don't, because that's dumb. There's nothing to be scared of. That's not a great way to approach that. That then would turn him into me seeking therapy later in life. And this goes for husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, relationships in general, parental, children, relationships at work. No matter how silly you think it is, it doesn't matter. It's not yours. You're not feeling it. You don't get to tell somebody that their feeling is wrong. That's important because it's a feeling. It's not a thought. Thoughts can be wrong. We can debate that all day long. But if somebody's legitimately sitting there and being vulnerable enough to share with you a feeling, there's no other appropriate response, whether it's a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 12-year-old, 18-year-old, coworker, spouse, whatever, no other response than, oh, wow, yeah, I see how that could be tough. What needs to happen next? Right? Literally.
Yes.
Memorize that sentence and give it to everybody.
Validation, it is number one. I agree with you 100%. That's going to end up being my takeaway. At night, when I go to bed, if the closet is cracked, I'll look at my husband and he'll go, the monsters. I'll say yes. And he will get up and close the closet. My father's favorite movie to fall asleep to was Monsters, Inc., the animated movie. It's kind of a joke, but no, I'm still that kid. I can't sleep with the closet door open. That's just wrong. There are monsters in there, be they good or bad. They exist. As far as I'm concerned, I'm with your kids, man. Shut that closet door. You're right. Validation should always be the first response. I even need to work on that.
We all do. I don't think anybody's perfect in that because we have our own triggers because we are human.
Yeah.
Just awareness. I mean, that's really it. Just the awareness that exists with something like that. I think that's all.
Number 8, the last positive of stress. Maybe there's more, but this is all I have. Sense of accomplishment. Achievement. Successfully managing or overcoming stress can lead to a strong sense of accomplishment or personal satisfaction. Completing a challenging task or persevering through a stressful period can boost self-esteem and provide a feeling of mastery. It's a confidence boost. The experience of managing stress can increase your self-confidence as you realize that you are capable of handling tough situations.
I think I've mentioned that I Am Brave book that I read my kids. This is exactly what this book says. There's 2 pages in it that says, look, and when you see that you can do it, it's easier to do the next time. Although that first time might have held a little bit of stress, it's less and less and less until now it's just a thing that you do. Other things that you can relate to that become less stressful because you decided to conquer that piece of stress. Absolutely.
I love that. It is so good. I love all of these. I want to go through all 8 real fast. Number 1 was motivation and performance. Number 2 was enhanced resilience. Number 3 is a boosted immune system for the short term. Number 4, increased creativity. Number 5, improved time management. Number 6, physical fitness. Number 7 is strengthened relationships. I'm going to bring in number 7B, being the empathy and support for others. Number 8 is sense of accomplishment. Guys, stress is not a bad thing if we're handling it and realizing that it can really serve us.
Yes, that's the awareness piece. I feel stressed and I don't feel like it's serving me. What are ways that I can help myself shift this? If you don't know how to do it by yourself, seek help. A therapist, a coach, a mentor, maybe a colleague that you've seen manage things. Seek help. Not one person is meant to do this life alone. No man or woman is an island. There are people that really truly care about you that do in fact want to help. And if you don't know who those people are or you're too embarrassed to ask your inner circle, seek a coach, seek a counselor. Somebody will help you with this because the identifiable factor here is this doesn't feel so good. And I'd like that to be different.
Yeah. I want to final say before we wrap up on the stress part is the key to positive stress is moderation. Mm-hmm. Moderate stress, it's actually also known as eustress, EUSTRESS. Eustress can have positive effects on your motivation, health, and growth. The difference between stress that's helpful and stress that's harmful often lies in its intensity and duration. As we get into next week's episode, where we're going to dive a little bit into why are we so stressed in the US, and then we're going to get into anxiety. That'll be an interesting episode.
I love that there's such heavy topics that we're looking at it really took a positive turn today. I'm really excited about that.
No guarantees about next week, but it did this week. Let's do our takeaways. I'm going to go first. I really think that validation point was so important. There was a couple points that were really poignant to me. The hormonal balance, the fact that fight or flight gives us an immunity boost. I think that's important. I think what you said about validation is just something we can all work on. How can we validate everyone else so that they feel heard? My husband is so good at this. He was a manager for many years, and it was one of the things he was always excellent at, especially when he was dealing with customers. He would always validate the customer's concern before he would address it. Somebody who can validate others is somebody who has mastered communication and the ability to have that empathy with others. And I want to be that person. Thank you for bringing that up. That was such a key point. That is my biggest takeaway of all of this.
My biggest takeaway are really the entirety of the positive effects of stress, some of which I knew, some of which I didn't. My favorite is that boosted immune system, the idea of stress on our bodies helping us become really more superhuman with the hormonal, with the healthier heart, with all of the systems that we're affected with as humans, the internal systems, that stress really can help boost those things. I think that's fascinating. I guess it's not new information, just the way that it was presented today was like, oh yeah, we don't think of it like that. We have this negative connotation to the word stress, and really look at this. There's so many other versions of it that can be positive in our lives. I think that was fun for me to remind myself of.
Nice. I love that.
Questions? I'll go first.
Okay.
If you could live in any sitcom, what would it be?
Any sitcom. Oh my gosh. Instantly the one that comes to my head is The Big Bang Theory. First of all, they're entertaining. I believe that all of them are on the neurodivergent spectrum. So I find them fascinating humans. I think the way their brains work is amazing. One of my favorite things is to have conversations that are stimulating. And I think they would absolutely do that. Plus they are funny as hell. They're just funny as hell.
Love it.
Penny's probably not on the spectrum. She's probably the only one that's not. I love that crowd, and I would love to do that. And side note, I actually saw Howard when I was much, much, much younger, coming out of a Barnes and Noble. I didn't say a word to him because when I lived in LA, that was my rule. You don't say anything to anybody. I had two people that, okay, if I run into one of these two people, I have to talk to them. Otherwise, I don't talk to stars.
Let them live their lives.
Let them live their lives. Yeah, I would go with Big Bang Theory. Cool. Yeah, it's a tried and true. Of course, I'm going to go about my day and be, I should have said this. Oh, I should have said this about these other ones.
It's okay. First pop. That's what we're going with.
Yep. That's
cool. I like it. I like that show.
Jen, if you could go back in time, what year would you travel to?
Oh my gosh. This has been a thought for every child who has ever seen Back to the Future.
Right?
Where would I go? And then everywhere they went, you go, I wouldn't go there. Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. Okay, if I had to live in the time, I maybe would go with the Roaring 20s. Only because, maybe the 30s. I love the jewelry. I love the women's clothes. I love the women's liberation, sexual revolution. I am just a big fan of the strides and the guts that women were making during those times. I would love to witness it in person. I think that also I would bear a lot of anger so maybe I can't live in it. I just have to hover above it and be like, get him, girl. I think that's the top off of my head, 20s, 30s. And that jewelry.
Yeah, they had some good stuff.
That's my time. That's my time.
And I mean, jewelry in the hair, jewelry was everywhere. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's a great answer.
Thanks. It's fun.
We had a great time today learning how stress can be positive. We will continue this series next week. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Yay. Thanks, Nicole.
Bye.
Write your lines with passion, let your spirit freely roam. The lessons of your journey will lead you